Welcome to your second mission. Today we are investigating the two humans, the male and female God had created. Through these chapters, we will search through Genesis 2 through 3 to find out that we are dealing with Adam and Eve. We also have a localized place where this will take place. Let's go to Genesis 2:8. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So the Garden of Eden is the place that this event happens. Now, as far as the exact location, it is locked behind access that even I don't have. But we will travel there through time and space to find out exactly what happened. Are you ready, agents? Let's go. Well, this is a much better site than our last entrance. Now, there is one thing we need to learn first. God created this place. He put Adam and Eve into it. But he had one rule. We must figure out what that is. We must learn from it. Make sure we don't trespass against it. Let's come down. Chapter 2, verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Those are heavy consequences. But the rule is simple enough. The tree is in the center of the garden. It's difficult to mistake it for an ordinary tree, and perhaps easy enough to avoid. And then there are all sorts of other fruits and trees to explore and taste. It shouldn't be too much of a temptation. Let's investigate though. Where is that tree? Let's zoom in further. There. That's it. No other tree looks like that. Let's get a little bit closer, just to make sure nothing's going on. There, that hand. Who is that? We don't have audio, but we can read through their conversation. There's another beast there with the human. Let's find out. Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. This serpent, he's using some tactics to tempt the humans. He is behaving like that great adversary of God, the devil. And if we look in Revelation, there's a verse that describes the devil as that old serpent. Perhaps this is not just a serpent, but indeed that great tempter, the father of lies. However, the woman seems to be holding off. Let's see further. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So within a matter of minutes, perhaps seconds, both humans disobeyed God's command. They disregarded his one rule for a moment of pleasure. There were all sorts of fruits, and yet they gave in to the temptation. And what was the consequence? Now that this has happened, they tasted of the fruit. The consequence God gave them was death. Let's find out at that confrontation. Verse 9. And the Lord God called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shalt it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. So the consequence, from dust he was made, and to dust he returns. Yet he said, In the day that thou eatest. Is this the day that he dies? No, not yet. There is something yet to come. But he will die. His cells perhaps begin to die at that very moment. Now, both Adam and Eve took of the fruit. The serpent did not. Yet in tempting Adam and Eve, he also was punished. So everyone who had a part in this had a consequence. Not just Adam and Eve, although their consequence was heavy and bears down on all of us. Because of their actions, all of us now bear that curse of sin. All of us are doomed to return to the dust from which we came. I'm going to investigate closer. Let's take a look. There's the forbidden fruit, right where Adam and Eve dropped it. One bite, and all of humanity is doomed. Now what can be done? From their choice, all of us will suffer. I can hear them now in the distance. God can't let them stay. They have to be sent away. They have to be sent out of the garden. This is dire, agents. We have to get out of here, quick! Quickly, agents. We need to get out of here. Back to the HQ. That was close. But what was that? Wait, I have intel that a clue is in chapter 3, verse 23. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. And so he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So now, not only has Adam and Eve been cast out, but all people are banned from their Garden of Eden. No one can return. There is now a guard watching over to make sure there are no trespassers. I'm afraid we cannot go back to that place. All of this, it's so dire. What can be done? All of us are doomed to just die one day. Can anything make this right again? But there was one promise God made. Let's go back to the words God spoke to the devil. What was it? Genesis 3:15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. There's a seed coming, a descendant from Eve, who will have a conflict with the devil, with the great adversary. He won't be without injury. It says he will take a bruise to his heel, but he will bruise the head of that serpent. Yes, there is still hope. Someday, this can be put right. This son, this seed from the woman, can put everything right again. We will have to investigate this further. But for now, you have done good work today, agents. Let's recap. Who was involved in this event? Adam and Eve. And where did this event take place? The Garden of Eden. And what happened? What was the event? There can be a few different words or phrases, but a concise way to describe it is Adam and Eve sinned. The curse of this world came from them. Good work today, agents. Mark that gray box for a mission accomplished. And until next time, farewell.